The International Youth Day is celebrated annually on 12th August to bring youth issues to the attention of the international community and to celebrate the potential of youth as active partners in the global society. Well, the theme of this year's celebration is about transforming food systems with the aim of highlighting that the success of such a global effort would not be achieved without the meaningful impact of young people. It has been acknowledged that there is a need for inclusive support mechanisms that ensure youth continue to amplify efforts collectively and individually to restore the planet and protect life while integrating biodiversity in the transformation of food systems. With the world's population expected to increase by 2 billion people in the next 30 years, it has become recognized by numerous stakeholders that simply producing a larger number or volume of healthier food more sustainably will not ensure human and planetary well-being. Other crucial challenges such as the interlinkages embodied by the 2030 agenda, including poverty reduction, social inclusion, healthcare, biodiversity conservation, and climate change mitigation must also be addressed. Well, I'm not doing this alone. I introduced that earlier. She's the Chief Operating Officer, LEAP Africa. It's good to have you in the studio.
Thank you, Tolu. I'm very happy to be here.
Yes, let's start with the significance of Youth Day itself. I'm looking at it a lot. I see the focus on food systems and all of that. But first, let's look at the Youth Day itself. How significant is it?
It's very important, for UN to dedicate a day for young people to be recognized, for the efforts of young people to be a focus. It's really important. The number of young people on this planet is really huge, and you cannot allow them to be on the sidelines. So what UN is doing, and many organizations working with the UN, is to ensure that young people are on the front lines of change. The same thing we are doing at LEAP Africa. It's a very significant day to get young people looking at the problems that we have, those confronting young people to transition to the next level, or things that makes it possible for them to really achieve their full potential. And that's why, LEAP Africa, or one of the organizations, like LEAP Africa, exists right now.
I see that there is this Youth Day of Service. I think you did that last year. This is the second year, right?
Yes.
Yeah, tell us about that and what do you really what are the objectives?
So now, there is this narrative that young people are lazy. And so the narrative with the Youth Day of Service is that we are not lazy young people. And this theme in particular is about youthful and useful, which is saying that young people, if inspired, motivated, encouraged, empowered, can do better, can do so much more. And again, there is this thing about young people being creative and talented. And you cannot, shy away from the potential of young people to contribute or to be active change agents. So what we are doing with the Youth Day of Service, this is the second edition, is to increase the spirit of volunteerism. And it's also a lesson in leadership, where we are saying, what does it really mean to serve? What does it mean to be a leader? Do you have to be the governor of a state? Do you have to be a councilman before you begin to do these things? And so we are beginning to shift the narrative and the mindset of young people actively to begin to look outside of what is being told to them or what they've learned over time. Again, I will say that, we are racing towards the SDGs. You opened up by saying that there is focus on 2030. And we are almost there. And many things are still yet undone. There are many gaps still yet unfulfilled. And we are raising this massive campaign to work with many organizations, many young people, to ensure that people are going out and practicing what we call youth activism in community development. Now, the second edition is way bigger than the first one, where we stayed only in Nigeria and we went to 26 states. Now we are in 27 countries this year. We have so many partners, almost 5,000 volunteers this year versus 80-something volunteers from last year. We've come a very long way, and we are hoping to touch the life of 1 million people across Africa. We are in different countries now for the first time because of this massive campaign, and people begin to understand why it's really important for us to push young people and change the conversation for the better.
Now, engaging the youth, some talk about modes or platforms or, ways of engaging the youth. Would you say, Nigeria in quote, would you say we've been able to do that perfectly, or how better can we get? Because relating with the youths, you see the number of youths that we have, it's really high. So how well do you think governments can carry youths along in policy making and even other issues?
Thank you, Tolu. This is a fantastic question. One of the priorities for Leap Africa is to begin the conversation along policy dialogues and youth engagement that will see young people sitting on the table that, inform the decision made around them. And to answer your question directly, I think we can do better. The government can do better. There's so much work to be done in terms of the gaps that are confronting young people. When you look at the education, let me stay in that particular aspect for a minute. You can see that level of education or learning that is happening is not robust, is not the best. You still come out of university and you're saying this person is not ready for work. And so there are so many employability projects, employability initiatives. I mean, Leap Africa has done a lot in that regard as well. And we are still saying it's not enough. And so we are saying now at this point that the government needs to include young people. Yeah. They need to make room for these young people to speak. They need to recognize the voices of young people. For instance, when we did this project last year and we spoke with the Minister of Youth and Development, he said that he wished it was the ministry that was championing this initiative, because this is way more than one person. It's a multi-sectoral platform or campaign, if I can call it that. And so there's still a lot of work to be done in ensuring that young people are well engaged, and engagement, can manifest in information that is available to them, allowing them to do what they think is best, because the way we reason now is very different from how you would if you spoke with somebody older.
Let's stay with youthful and useful. Mm-hmm. Why that theme? On the other side, that's for the UN, right? Mm-hmm. That one is our capacity for change agents transforming food systems. I think that's kind of agricultural way, one way or the other, looking at agric, which is the way to go at this time. You must agree with me. But youthful and useful, what do you intend? What does this really depict?
Right. Let me even start with the UN. I will speak to that because we have 2 fellows in our social innovation program that are in that space, and so many of them, but 2 because maybe you might know or may not know of them. One of them is Lagos Food Bank Initiative. And when he started, Michael Sumbola is an alum now. It was a novel idea. People didn't do food banks in Nigeria. You have it in other parts of the country. And so that is one initiative that is working with thousands of volunteers annually to ensure that they are getting food across to people who cannot afford them. So there's a problem with food security, there's shortage. Beyond that, there's also the possibility that people really can't afford to feed. The second initiative is the Afrotech, Infotech alum that we have. His name is Ayo Okediji. He's not based in Lagos, and that platform has grown from a web-based agri-platform that's just doing research. Is now doing an academy for food entrepreneurs. Is also, creating news specifically for food entrepreneurs. Is also crowdfunding. He has a farm commerce now that is using to mobilize funds for farmers, and is doing way better now than when he started with us many years ago. Now to the theme youthful and useful. Again, I opened up with the narrative about young people. Young people are youthful and useful, and we want it to be more than an exercise, more than a day's event. Right now, it's running for a week between the 12th and the 18th, where young people across Africa are coming out, and we want them to really connect with it. We actually did a drive where we said, can you even tell us or interpret what useful and useful to you is in your local dialect? And it was really amazing to see how people came up with all sorts of things to say, it means that I'm valued, it means that I'm recognized, it means that I can do something, it means that I can be involved in things that is beyond me. And so you have people plugging into projects that they knew nothing about, but happen to be close enough to them, and they are coming out in hundreds, to facilitate a project in the community. I'll give you examples of this. We have, right now, I came from Falomo Senior High School this morning, where Leap Africa is painting the school. We are painting the school. In Abuja, our team members are donating books to a library. In Akwa Ibom, we are speaking to girls on sexually reproductive activities, and also giving them sanitary towels to ensure that they are well encouraged. That's just a few of what we are doing personally. But beyond what we are doing, there are many organizations who are painting roadblocks, who are ensuring that streets are safe for people to cross. They are cleaning up. streets and beaches. They are cleaning up the sanitation exercise. Let me just put it like that. In Bodija, for instance, if you've ever been to Bodija Market, it's a very dirty place, and people are cleaning. There's sanitation, food drives, all sorts of projects are going on, even in climate and environment. And so young people have the audacity to pick up an idea and run with it, and that's what it means to be youthful and useful.
Well said. So I think it's quite the reception from the youth. I think you can commend that, what you're getting in. What are the feelers you're getting from youth? How are they so excited about all of these moves by Leap Africa? And in what other ways do you think youths can even support in achieving the SDGs? Because I think they have a role to play, looking at what the UN has put out.
Yes, absolutely. I'll start with the last one. The awareness on the SDG is quite low with young people.
It is.
People don't know what the SDGs are. When we went on the street, someone was still talking about the MDGs, and see us, close to the mark that UN had set. And so there's still a lot of work to be done. I think I've said that over and over again. But to even ask you the reception of young people, when we sat down this year and said we were going to 20 countries, we wanted 1,000 projects, we wanted 500 volunteers. It's amazing that we have almost 5,000 projects. 5,000 young people who are professionals, who are students, who are undergraduates on this idea. And all they've done is to just sign up on the website, and they say we want to do this. They're committed to that. And we have organizations who are supporting us, I must say. Organizations who are giving...
I wanted to ask that partnership and all of that.
Yes.
How has that been?
One of our partners in particular, if I may drop their name, is giving 10 million naira to projects directly across Lagos or whatever region. Leap Africa is also putting money behind projects. We have this open mic challenge that's going on, $1,000 for 4 people who would emerge as winners in there, and other projects across Africa that are being financed. We have global citizens, if I can call some names. We have Ford Foundation, we have African Union Youth Division supporting us. We have Sterling One and Giving.ng who are supporting us, and many implementing organizations like CAMFED, like BRAC, like Peace First. So many organizations, 27 organizations in total are solidly behind this. And before I came here, our volunteers for the painting exercise had just come through.
When I look at these figures and look at our population, I want to ask the question, are we taking advantage of this youthful population in Nigeria? Because, the population could either be a blessing or a curse. So how well are we taking advantage? In your assessment generally, what do you think, or what can be done better?
Well, I think we are making the most of it as we think we know how to. But again, when you exclude the minority, young people are the minority now, then you can't make a wholesome decision about young people or where they are concerned. You really don't know what hurts them. Again, I like to talk from a place of knowledge and practice, which is the fact that, we are in public secondary schools, we have an intervention there, and we go in there to deploy a leadership program and come out knowing that there are sexual exploitations going on in these schools because some of the people who are in the program are house helps and they are being sexually exploited or assaulted. These are things we didn't bargain for when we were going into the school. So I'm saying that in essence, in as much as the government, the private sector, and even the social development sector are doing things to help young people or project young people, we still have to do so much more to ensure that we are talking to these young people, capturing their pain, capturing their actions, their voices, their energies, their vibrancy, to turn it into something that's very meaningful and useful in the long run. Again, we want to see more lasting institutions, and this is one that is being supported by young people. We can do better to get more young people front in public service, in advocacy, in the House of Assemblies, help them to be more accountable. I think accountability is missing, in as much as organizations are giving young people the voice and the space and the platform. Some people still mismanage it, and that's because they haven't been trained, because they don't know better, they haven't made the right decisions. And so a lot of focus should still go into the training, the education, the empowerment, and equipping young people to ensure we are getting the best out of them.
Well, let's wrap up on this note. World's population is about 7.7 billion, and there's a projection that we might increase like 2 billion by 2050. That's scary. I don't know how many. I think Nigeria is predicted to be about 400 million 2050. What's your advice directly to youth? What do you think youth should? Because at this moment, how many of us want to work in companies, offices, and all of the white-collar jobs. They're nowhere anymore. Agriculture should be more interesting. You know, the ICT space, there are a lot of opportunities in that space. So what would you advise youth to really look at as we move on? We churn out thousands of graduates yearly.
Yes, Tolu. I think that more young people should be thinking about being entrepreneurs. Yes, it's a cliche. You know, more young people say that that's a death trap. You can't tell a young person who has no experience to go right into entrepreneurship. And that's why, you know, volunteering in organizations that are structured is one of the best way to go about this. Again, we can talk about the fact that, you know, young people can collaborate. You know, there are apps, you know, being developed by tech giants and even, you know, small and growing organizations now. We can do so much there as well. There's opportunity in the agricultural sector and the entire value chain, like you said. Young people should be the solution. They shouldn't be a problem. They should look into themselves and find what is the best way I can channel my energy and do something better. Nobody will employ all the people who are employed in Nigeria right now. And so we have to be creative. We have to think, what can we do? Remote work is not the thing, you know, where someone is here in Nigeria and working for an organization, you know, in Asia, in America, in Europe. We can do so much more than that and bring in the funds to support the GDP that is declining in the country right now and see more young people becoming financially independent eventually.
It's a good way to leave it. I've been speaking to Chief Operating Officer at Leap Africa, Omokende Ayeni, taking us through what's been happening with Leap Africa with regards to youth development and, of course, how to grow the Nigerian economy. On the continent, I think it's away from Nigeria this time around. Yes. It's across the continent. Thank you so much, Omokende Ayeni. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right.